What's up, everyone? Welcome to a brand new episode of Ease Your Mind, South Africa's #1 mindset podcast. I'm your host, Reis van der Skeef, and I'm so excited to be on this journey with you to start living your very best life. Today, I want to talk about the first step to success, desire. If you really want to live your very best life, then this is the perfect episode for you. All right, let's jump in. Before we dive into today's episode, I want to quickly remind you that one of the most important things to find your success and your happiness is to set proper goals. Setting proper goals is not really a straightforward process, but I've got really great news for you. The Ease Your Mind book is still available for free, and it gives you step-by-step guidance on how to set goals so that you and your loved ones can live their very best life. Check out the new Ease Your Mind Instagram page to find out how to get your hands on a copy. So go to EYM Podcast on Instagram, and while you're there, hit the follow button so you can stay up to date with all things related to happiness, success, and living your very best life. All right, so success, we all want it. I doubt that anyone out there wants to achieve nothing. We all long for success in some way or another. Whether it is financially, in your relationships, the way we look, even our friendships, in some way or form, we have our own definition of success. And the problem that many people face is that they know what they want, but either they tell themselves that they can't get to where they want to be, or they don't know how. And both perfectly normal. It happens to absolutely everyone. But here's the thing. Our goals are far from normal. Just like we each have our own definitions of success, we also have our own definition of normal. And if you've been in the same situation, stuck for a long time and nothing has changed for you, then there is a massive chance that you are stuck in your normal. So how do you get out of your state of normal and move into the extraordinary? Easy. It's desire. Desire is the vehicle that will get you to where you want to be. But not the type of desire that a lot of us have grown accustomed to knowing. Desire, it's not hope. Desire is not a wish. Desire is that pulsating need for you to achieve something. And this desire must transcend everything in your life. Your desire needs to be your obsession. It has to be your be-all and end-all. There is this little story about a man named Edwin Barnes. True story. Now, we all know Thomas Edison, one of the world's greatest inventors. He's known for creating things like the light bulb, the phonograph, and also motion picture cameras. Yeah, this guy literally invented movies. Anyway, back to the story of Edwin C. Barnes. Now, Edwin Barnes wanted to become Thomas Edison's partner, but he had no money. He had very little education. He had no influence whatsoever. He had no relationship in any way with Edison. However, that desire of Edwin Barnes was so strong, and he needed to find a way to make it come true. His desire was so strong that he had this thought that he would show up at Edison's doorstep and propose that they work together as business partners. He had faith right down to his core that he was going to make this happen. So what did he do? He jumped on a freight train because he couldn't afford a normal train ticket, and he headed to Thomas Edison to let him know he would become his partner. Whether Edison liked it or not, that is how strong his desire was. So Barnes eventually met with Edison, and what do you think happened? Obviously, Edison outright rejected him. But that desire burned so deep in Barnes that Edison was drawn to something in him and immediately offered him a job as a sweeper, right? A long way off from being his partner, but, Barnes could have felt dejected and given up right then and there, but his desire was still there. It stayed with him, right? And he made up his mind that he would either do or die, and in every literal sense of the phrase. He told himself, I will start anywhere. I will do anything Edison tells me to do. But before I am through with this life, I will be his partner. There was no, let me try for a few months and see how far I get. It was just set in stone. He focused all of his thoughts on getting what he wanted, even starting off as a lowly sweeper. Now, I'm going to fast forward 5 years later, and Barnes got exactly what he wanted. An opportunity materialized, and after 5 years of relentless effort, Barnes again stood in the same office where he first met Edison, where he was first rejected, and he shook hands with Edison, securing that partnership that in some way, somehow, he always knew he was going to land. And that is exactly what our desires need to feel like. We have to leave ourselves no room for retreat. You either win or you perish. You do or die. For me, one of my deepest desires is to make sure I'm in a loving, committed, and happy marriage. I'll be the first to admit I never always had this burning desire, but through a series of unfortunate events, it made me realize how important my marriage is to me. And not only that, how important my wife is. And I know that my very happiness and success lies with her at my side. And no one can make me feel any other way. I want a happy marriage with her so much that I'm willing to sacrifice everything for it, even my marriage. Now, I know that sounds super strange, but think about it. I would sacrifice my marriage if that's what it takes for me to be happily married to her. Now, I know it really doesn't make sense, but basically what I'm saying is that my desire is so strong to be married to my wife that life does not make sense to me without it. And I will fight and do whatever it takes to make sure my wife and I live a long, happy, successful life together. And that's how I feel about my podcast being the #1 mindset podcast in South Africa. It is how I feel about the house that I'm going to live in one day. It's how I feel about the businesses that I own, the places that I want to see, and the money in my bank. I set my desire on how I want my relationships to be with my family. And I kid you not, within a few months of me setting that desire and understanding that desire and feeling it down to my bones, within a few months, I landed a promotion at my job. A few months after that, my wife completed a PhD and got a job in the city where all of our family lived. And the next thing you know, I am living here with my family, living my best life so far. And this has to be your first step too. You need to figure out what you want. And it can't just be a house or money. It has to be so specific, and it has to mean everything to you that you feel that it is yours, down to your core right now. Whatever you want in the future, in your core, you've got to feel it, that it is yours, and your desire has to burn so strong. Where do you want to live? Why do you want to live there? Do you want it so bad that you have this overwhelming feeling that it is yours already? If you get that right, then my friend, you are just a stone's throw away from happiness, just a few steps away from living your best life. And that is where I leave you. Always do what makes you happy. And until next time, take it easy.